class, I have explained about what are X-rays and how they produce and the properties and also applications. In the last class, and one more thing, there are two types of X-rays. So one is continuous X-rays, another one is characteristic X-rays. So, yeah, first one is in the last class I explained continuous X-rays, how they produce and origin. So, in the examination, out of two, they're asked for. I already told that 4 or 5 marks. So, it is important types of X-rays. So, in yesterday class, I will start with this one type of X-rays, continuous X-rays. So how the continuous X-rays will be produced? So when the high velocity, high energy, fast moving electrons will be passed through nearly the positively charged nucleus of a target atom, then they are deflected. Then they are deflected and deaccelerated. As a
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್
result,
ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗೂ
this
ಮ್ಯೂಟ್
gives the
ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೇಳಿ
electron.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
Boys, mute ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾರು.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರೀತಿ NS.
ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಗರ್ಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಚೇತು ನಿಂಗೆ ಕಣ.
ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು. ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ ಕಣ.
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಡ್ರೋ, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ರೋ, ಟೈಮ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಚೇತು ಮಾಮ ನೀನೆ.
ಆಕಾಶ್ when high energy fast electrons when moving pass through the nearly positively charged nucleus of the atom, they are deflected and deaccelerate. As a result, this gives the electromagnetic radiation as continuous. They are called as the continuous X-rays. So we already know that due to this process there is a decrease in energy. Energy will be decreases. As a result, we get the X-ray. This type of X-rays are called as the what? Continuous X-rays. So in the last class, I have explained this, and also if we plot a graph of wavelength versus intensity, we get the curve as shown in this figure. So this is for different accelerate voltage for different elements. So in this graph, we notify that. So this will be continuous. So the graph will be continuous. So therefore, it is called as continuous X-rays. These two peaks are called as the discrete peaks, and this is only for tungsten metal. When the tungsten metal at the accelerating voltage 70 kilovolts, we get the graph like this. So this is the when I plot the graph of wavelength versus intensity. So the first point observed from this graph is for each anode potential, there is minimum wavelength. So this is the minimum length. That is, we start from this. When the wavelength increases, intensity will be increases. So this is the lambda minimum. So for each anode potential, for some potential, there is a minimum wavelength. So this is the minimum wavelength is notified as lambda minimum. Is known as the threshold, and it is also known as threshold wavelength. Below this lambda wavelength, there is no radiation takes place. This is the first inference from this graph. What is the first inference? So for which anode potential, there is a minimum wavelength. So this is called, denoted by lambda minimum, is called as threshold wavelength. So beyond this, there is no radiation takes place. Beyond lambda minimum, there is no radiation takes place. So this is the first point. So this is lambda minimum. Beyond this, there is no radiation. So the second point is above the lambda minimum, we notify that above lambda minimum, what happens if we increase the wavelength, intensity is also increases. For some value, it will be maximum. Further increase the wavelength, certain point, it will be decreases gradually. So it reaches the with the help of if we increase the wavelength, it should be increases and it maximum and it will be decreases. So this is the second point. So above lambda minimum, what happens? It should be increases with the increase in wavelength. At certain point, it will be maximum. Then if you further increase the wavelength, it will be decreases. So this is the second inference from the graph. The third point is lambda. This lambda minimum will be independent of the nature of the target material. Whatever metal we use, it should be not depend on the lambda minimum. Lambda minimum is independent of the nature of the target material. So this is the third point. So, and also this lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied potential difference. So this is potential difference. So lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied potential difference. And this is the fourth point. This lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied potential difference. The fifth one is, we know that as the applied voltage will be increases, the maximum intensity position of the X-rays will be shift to shorter wavelength. So that means when the wavelength will be shorter, the voltage will be, we observed that if we increase the voltage, the intensity will be increases, but the shorter the wavelength. So this is the fifth point. And also for a given potential, the total intensity of the continuous X-ray is directly proportional to the atomic number of the target element. This continuous X-ray spectrum is inverse of photoelectric effect. We already know that in the last class I have explained that this X-ray, this production of X-rays is nothing but the inverse of the photoelectric effect. Why? Because in photoelectric effect, what happens when the light will be hit on some metal or any object, we get the electron. These electrons are called as photoelectrons. These photoelectrons are used in this to produce the X-ray. So this is the inverse of photoelectric effect. Hence the kinetic energy is converted into photon energy. So hence the kinetic energy will be converted into photon energy. We know that photon energy is given by h into, this is mu. Mu is the frequency, h is the Planck's constant. So this is the production or origin of continuous X-rays. So in the examination is asked for 4 marks. State and explain continuous X-rays, or explain the types of the X-rays. This question will be asked for the 6 marks. So if we ask for 6 marks, you have to explain both the continuous and characteristic X-rays. So this is about continuous X-rays. So next one is second type of X-rays is, we already know the characteristic X-rays. So this is the second type of X-rays. So in characteristic X-rays, we know that this is the target material. Whatever we use, this is the target material. So this is the nucleus. So we know that around K shell, L, M, and N. So KL. So we know that this is electrons. So this is K, L, M, N, etc. So in characteristic X-ray spectra, what happens means, when a high energy electron, we know that we are always use the high energy fast moving electrons. These are high energy fast moving electrons. Always they are in the production of X-rays, we are using only high energy fast moving electrons. How we fast the electrons? By applying the potential difference. So when to produce characteristic of X-rays, this is the production or origin. So when this high energy fast moving electrons will be hit the target, so in this characteristic X-rays, there is a inertial transition. That means this high energy fast moving electron will be hitting this K shell electron. When we hit this K shell electron, what happens means in this the inner shell transition will be takes place. That means electron-electron interaction takes place. As a result, it will be removed from this shell. So it is removed from this shell. Therefore, as a result, there is a vacancy takes place. So when the high energy fast moving electron hit the electron of the electron of the atom in the K shell, as a result, there is an interaction between this high energy electron and the K shell electron. As a result, this electron will be removed from this shell. As a result, what happens if we remove the electron? There is a vacancy takes place. So we know that if any vacancy will be takes place, takes place, obviously this will be attract the electron from higher energy level. So this is we know that this is lower energy level. So it is attract the higher energy electron from either this is L or M or N. So when we attract this, this will be occupied this K shell state. So when a high energy electron, high speed electron is bombarded with the atoms of the target element, the electrons in the innermost K shell will be removed. That is called as this is K, therefore it is called as the K electron. That is, the electron becomes to K shell. Therefore, it is called as K electron is removed. So this will be raises the vacancy in the K shell. As a result, this will be filled by the electron from the higher energy levels. Either it is from L, M or N. This leads to the radiation of characteristic X-rays. This results the production of characteristic X-rays. The photon energy is given by mu should be equal to Em minus En divided by H. That is the energy of the M shell. The energy minus energy of the N shell divided by H is Planck's constant. Either this is nothing but difference in the energy by H. So there is a energy difference because when the electron will be attracted from higher energy to lower energy level, therefore as a result it will be already it should be removed from this. Therefore there is a energy difference. This is energy difference. We know that as a result they produce the characteristic X-rays. So this is the production of characteristic X-rays. How we produce the characteristic X-rays? When high speed, high energy, fast moving electron is hit the target element. When hit the target element, the electrons in the innermost shell K shell will be interact with this fast moving electron. There is a electron transition takes place. As a result, this electron will be removed from this shell. So this is nothing but K electron. That means electron belongs to K shell. Therefore, it's called as the K electron. When it is removed from the shell, what happens? There is a vacancy takes place. If a vacancy, we know that it is a tendency to attract the electron from higher energy level. That means they attract from L shell or M shell or N shell. They will be attracted. So this will be filled by the electron. This leads to the emission or this gives to the characteristic X-rays. This is called as the characteristic X-rays. So this is the characteristic X-rays. In the continuous X-rays, what happens? When the electron will be bombarded with the nucleus, as a result, this is positively charged, this is negatively charged electron. This will be just, it should be just deviated from this. As a result, they give the continuous. For characteristic characteristic X-rays, electron will be interact with the K shell electron and it is removed from the electron, and it is a tendency to attract the electron from higher energy level. As a result, they give the characteristic X-rays. So this is the characteristic X-rays, that is continuous X-rays, and the frequency is given by Em. That means energy of the M shell, energy of the N shell divided by Planck's constant. This is nothing but difference energy. Energy difference given by delta E by H. When a transition of an electron takes place, the difference of energy delta E should be converted. We know that converted into what is photon energy. Converted into photon X-rays. We know that difference in energy will be converted into photon X-rays of wavelength. This is the frequency. Wavelength is given by hc by delta E. H is Planck's constant. C is the velocity of delta E is nothing but change in the energy. So, for example, if it is electron attract from K from L means EL minus EK, from M to N andre EM minus EN. So this is the change in energy will be converted into photon X-rays. So, and also the spectrum consists of discrete spectral lines. This is the energy E is equal to 0. We know that this is K shell, L shell, M shell, N shell. So when we know that, I already told that when the electron, K shell electron will be removed from the K shell, therefore there is a vacancy. It should be attract the electron from L to K. So there is a transition between L to K. This is denoted K alpha. And either it will be attracted from L or M or N. These are the possibilities: K alpha, K beta, and K gamma. Either if the electron will be interact with the L shell, so there is a vacancy in L, they attract the electron from M or N. So as a result, this is it gives L alpha, L beta. If the electron will be interact with this M shell electron, then it is removed. They attract the electron from the higher order N. So this is the M alpha. So this is the energy level diagram for characteristic X-rays. So this is the transition from higher energy level to this is the lower energy level. So the spectrum consists of the discrete spectral lines, which is known as K series, L series, and M series, etc. K series are almost high energetic, constitute the hard X-rays, and L and M series are will be less energetic, constitute the, we know that, soft X-rays. These K series are the most energetic, most energetic, and this gives the hard X-rays. L and M series are the less energetic and they give the soft X-rays. So this is the first point. And also this spectrum is characteristics of the target material. This spectrum will be depends on, that means the spectrum will be depends on the characteristics of the target material, whatever we use the target material. And also the wavelength of X-rays is emitted by, the wavelength of X-rays emitted by different lines are given by, for example, for K alpha is lambda is equal to HC divided by, for K alpha means what? EK. For K alpha, EK minus EL. EK minus EL. Because, why? Because means the energy difference will be, they attract the electron from high energy L shell. Therefore, the difference in energy is EK minus EL. This is for K alpha. Similarly, for K beta, K beta is nothing but it attracts the electron from M shell. Therefore, EK minus EM. So difference in energy is Ek minus Em. So this is for K beta. And similarly, what for L alpha? For L alpha, similarly, L alpha means this is E alpha. So the EL minus EM, EL minus EM. Energy of L shell minus energy of the M shell. Therefore, for L alpha, lambda is equal to HC divided by EL minus EM. So, and it is goes on, etc. And these characteristic X-rays of an element can also be excited by using the element as the target in the X-ray tube, and it is subjected to the discrete bombardment. That means the characteristic X-rays of the element can also excited by using by depending upon the target in the X-ray tube. And also for each target there is a minimum potential below which line spectra do not appear. We know that in characteristic X-rays, so in continuous X-rays, the graph will be continuous. For this is for some metals when the electron, when the applied potential difference will be increases, it is different for different. In characteristic X-rays, what happens means for example, if there is a discrete, these are called as a discrete peaks. For continuous, this will be continuous. But characteristic X-rays is there will be gap. There will be gap. The graph will be like this. So in this, there is no gap. So this will be continuous. For characteristic, this will be gap. The critical potential, we know that is different for different target. So whatever we know that 30 kV, 40 kV, etc. So this is dependent on the target material, whatever we use. We know that molybdenum shows the line spectra for the potential difference of 35. For molybdenum element, they shows the line spectrum. That means this is the line spectrum. For molybdenum shows the line spectrum for the potential difference what 35 kilovolts. For 35 kilovolts molybdenum target, if we use the molybdenum as a target, then we accept the line spectrum. We expect the line spectrum. So if we use the tungsten as the target material, they shows in the last class I am explained that in the if we use the tungsten, they give the two peaks. If we use the tungsten as the target material, we get the two peaks. But if for continuous, this will be continuous. For characteristics, it will be the it will be gap between two peaks. So this is about the characteristic X-rays. So we know that there are two types of X-rays, continuous X-ray and characteristics X-rays. So don't be confused between continuous and characteristic X-rays. Once again, I have repeated that in continuous X-rays, the electron will be interact with the, when electron will pass through the nucleus of the target material, it will be deflected and deaccelerated. As a result, X-rays we obtained is called as the continuous X-rays. If we obtain the characteristics, the high energy electron will be interact with the, there is a electron transition takes place, electron will be interact with this shell electron. As a result, this electron will be removed. This is from K shell, therefore is called as the K electron will be removed. As a result, there is a vacancy takes place. As a result, they due to this vacancy, it will be we know that is a tendency to attract the electron from higher energy level. Higher energy level will electron will be goes to the low energy level. Therefore, as a result, we obtain the characteristic X-rays. So this is the characteristics and this is the continuous X-rays. Next is Dunehan. Next is Dunehan law. So this is very important for exam. In the examination, it is asked for, if the statement will be asked for, we know that 2 marks, and state and explain Dunehan law. This is asked for 5 or 6 marks. This is important law, Dunehan law. This the American physicist Dune and Hunt gives the maximum frequency of the X-rays. So America, these two physicists are belongs to American physicists Dune and Hunt. They give the maximum frequency of X-rays. So according to this law, it states that the threshold wavelength of X-rays. What is the threshold wavelength of X-rays? Or it is known as it is denoted by lambda minimum. This threshold wavelength of X-rays, that is lambda minimum, is inversely proportional to the applied voltage, or this threshold frequency of X-rays, that is mu maximum. So when we consider the wavelength, threshold wavelength will be minimum. When we consider the threshold frequency mu, it is denoted by mu maximum, is directly proportional to the applied voltage. So this is the statement of Dune and Hunt law. So these two American physicists, they give the maximum frequency of X-rays. So according to Dune Hunt law, he states that the threshold wavelength, what is threshold wavelength? Lambda minimum. Threshold wavelength of X-rays is inversely proportional to the applied voltage. That means lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied voltage. So this is the statement. So what is Dune and Hunt state that? It states that threshold wavelength of X-rays is denoted by lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied voltage, or the threshold frequency of X-rays. Threshold frequency of X-rays is nothing but mu maximum. This is frequency. Threshold frequency of X-rays is denoted by mu maximum is directly proportional to the applied volt. This is the Dune Hunt law. What is Dune Hunt law? The threshold wavelength of X-rays is inversely proportional to the applied voltage, or the threshold frequency of X-rays mu maximum is directly proportional to the applied voltage. So this is the Dune Hunt law. So next is, this is the statement. Next we have to derive or explain. Explanation of this law. When we know that when high velocity V electron, let us consider high velocity V electrons strikes the target atom. Strike the target atom, its velocity, we know that obviously velocity will be decreases. Its velocity will be slowed down to, consider V dash. Its velocity will be slowed down to V dash. Therefore, as a result, kinetic energy also reduces. When the velocity slows down, kinetic energy also reduces. This loss in kinetic energy converted into energy of the X-ray photon. This loss in kinetic energy will be converted into energy of X-ray photon. Therefore, loss in kinetic energy is given by of mv square minus of mv dash square. So this is the loss in kinetic energy is given by. Loss in kinetic energy is given by what? Is equal to, is nothing but of mv square. Kinetic energy minus of mv dash square. So this is the before. So that means before hitting the target atom, they have the kinetic energy. When hit the electron, kinetic energy will be reduces. After is given by of m v dash squared. So v is the high velocity v electron, and this is the v dash is the velocity will be slowed down. But it is, we know that this loss in kinetic energy is nothing but it is equal to what? H mu. This loss in kinetic energy, but it is equal to H mu. What is H mu? The energy of X-rays. So this is the energy of X-rays. Why? Because the difference in kinetic energy will be converted into energy of photon. Therefore, it is loss in kinetic energy should be equal to energy of X-rays. Therefore, this equation becomes H mu is equal to loss in kinetic energy will be equal to H mu. So H mu is equal to of mv square minus of mv dash square. So if we consider when v dash is equal to 0, let us consider when v dash is 0. When it is 0, that is possible only when the electron will be at rest. The electron will be come to rest. When the electron will be rest, at this only v dash is equal to 0. Let us consider v dash is 0. Then what happens when the v dash is 0? That is mu will becomes maximum. The frequency becomes maximum. When the electron will be come to rest, v dash is 0. At this point, the frequency will be maximum. Therefore, this equation becomes H mu maximum. Mu becomes mu maximum, and this is 0 because the electron will be at rest. As a result, v dash is 0. Therefore, this term becomes 0. Therefore, H mu maximum is equal to of mv square. So this is equation number 1. H mu maximum is equal to of mv square. How we get this? So if we substitute, if the electron will be at rest, v dash should be 0 and the frequency will be maximum. Therefore, H mu maximum should be equal to of mv square. This term will be vanishes. Why? V dash is 0. Mu becomes mu maximum. Remaining term of mv square. So when an electron will be accelerated by a potential V, when the electron is accelerated by a potential V, then when the electron will be accelerated by a potential V, then it is given by EV is equal to of mv square. Electron will be accelerated means this is the kinetic energy. By a potential EV is, EV should be equal to kinetic energy of mv square. This is equation 2. From equations 1 and 2, what we get from equations 1 and 2, this RHS will be same as LHS also equal. Therefore, H mu maximum is equal to EV. Since we know that H is Planck's constant, it is a constant. And E, what is E? E is the charge of the electron. it is also constant. H is constant, E is constant. But mu, we know that frequency will be increases or decreases. So the value will be changes and potential will also changes. Either it is increase or decrease. Therefore, these two variable, these two are the constant. Since H and E are constant, mu maximum will be directly proportional to V. This is the statement of Dunehunt law. What is Dunehunt law? State that the threshold frequency of X-rays mu maximum should be directly proportional to the applied voltage. So we get mu maximum is directly proportional to the applied voltage. So from equating equation 1 and 2, RHS same is, LHS is also same. Therefore, H mu maximum is equal to EV. In this equation, H Planck's constant is constant. D is the charge of the electron is also constant. This is the variables. Therefore, according to Dunehunt law, mu maximum is directly proportional to V. That means this is the law, Dunehunt law. So, and also we know that, but we know that what is mu maximum or frequency? We know that frequency is nothing but C by lambda. C by lambda. When frequency is maximum, wavelength will be minimum. But we know that one relation between frequency and wavelength. What is that? Frequency should be equal to velocity of light divided by wavelength. So mu should be equal to C by lambda. Substitute this in equation. What we get? H into what is mu maximum? Mu maximum is C by lambda minimum. So substitute this for mu maximum in this equation. H into what is mu maximum? C by lambda minimum is equal to E into V, or lambda minimum. Lambda minimum is equal to HC divided by EV. So just rearrange the terms. Lambda minimum is equal to HC. So this come to this place and just rearrange the terms. We get lambda minimum is equal to HC by EV. We know that what is H? H is again Planck's constant. C is the velocity of light. E is the charge of the electron. We know that Planck's constant is also a constant. C is the velocity of light is also constant. E is the charge of the electron is a constant. HC, E are constant. Then lambda minimum is inversely proportional to 1 by B. V is the applied potential. So applied potential means this will be variable. So this is the Dunehunt law. This gives the Dunehunt law. So we know that according to Dunehunt law, the threshold wavelength of X-rays is denoted by lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied voltage, or threshold frequency of X-rays is denoted by lambda maximum, mu maximum is directly proportional to the applied voltage. So this is the, hence the law. This is the Dunehunt law and the explanation. So in the examination, they ask for either 6 marks or 2 marks. 2 marks for statement. Either explain Dunehunt law with Dunehunt law. So state and explain Dunehunt law means this is asked for either 5 or 6 marks. Only statement will be asked for 2 marks. So what is Dunehunt law? Dunehunt law is nothing but the threshold wavelength of X-rays is denoted by lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied voltage, or other will be the threshold frequency of X-rays is denoted by mu maximum is directly proportional to the applied voltage. So how we get this law? So when a high potential V electrons will be strike the target atom. When the high energy electron will be strike the atom, what happens? The energy will be decreases. Energy will be decreases means velocity will also increases. They loses energy means velocity decreases. As a result, kinetic energy will also reduces. This loss in kinetic energy will be converted into energy of X-ray photon. When the electron will be bombarded with the or strike with the target atom, velocity will be decreases. As a result, kinetic energy also reduces. This difference in kinetic energy will be converted into energy of X-ray photon. Therefore, loss in kinetic energy should be equal to half mv square minus half mv dash square. This is the kinetic energy before hitting or strike the target. This is the kinetic energy after hitting or strike the target. But we know that if this loss in kinetic energy is nothing but what? It should be equal to energy of the X-ray photon. What is the energy of the X-ray photon? But it is equal to h mu. This is the energy of the X-ray photon. Energy of the X-ray photon. Loss in kinetic energy should be equal to energy of X-ray photon. Why? Because loss in kinetic energy will be converted into photon energy. Therefore, h mu is equal to half mv square minus half mv dash square. When, let us consider when V dash is 0. When this is possible? Only when the electron will be come to at rest. When the electron will be come to at rest, the V dash should be equal to 0. When V dash is 0, frequency is maximum. When V dash is 0, the frequency will be maximum. Mu becomes mu maximum. Therefore, this apply to this equation, what happens? Mu becomes mu maximum. And this term will be vanishes because V dash is 0. So remaining terms h mu maximum is equal to half m v square. This is equation 1. Consider this is equation 1. And also we know that the electron will be accelerated only when by applying the potential. Electron will be accelerated by applying the potential. Therefore, EV is equal to half mv square. Electron kinetic energy will be increased by the applying the potential. Therefore, EV is equal to half mv square. Consider this is equation 2. Compare or from equation 1 and 2. From equations 1 and 2, we notify that RHS will be same. RHS will be same means LHS is also equal. Therefore, h mu maximum should be equal to EV. And also we know that what is H? H is Planck's constant. E is the charge of the electron. Mu is frequency, it will be variable. V is the applied potential, it will be variable, means it will be increases from lower and lower value to higher level. Mu is also. So therefore, mu maximum is directly proportional to V. According to Dunet-Hunt law, the threshold frequency will be directly proportional to applied potential or applied voltage. So this is the Dunet law. And also we know that there is a relation between frequency and wavelength. What is the relation? Mu is equal to C by lambda. When the mu frequency will be maximum, wavelength will be minimum. Substitute this in this equation gives H into what is mu maximum? C by lambda minimum, which is equal to EV. Just rearrange the terms, we get lambda minimum is equal to Hc by EV. We know that H is the Planck's constant, C is the velocity of light, E is the charge of the electron, H, C, E all are constant. Therefore, lambda minimum is inversely proportional to 1 by V. So this is the Dunet-Hunt law. According to Dunet-Hunt law, threshold wavelength of X-rays lambda minimum is inversely proportional to the applied voltage. So this is the Dunet-Hunt law. So this is very important for exam types of X-rays and Dunet-Hunt law. So if any doubt, please ask. Doubt idre matra unmute ಮಾಡಿ. ಏನಾದ್ರೂ doubt ಇದೆಯಾ? Types of X-rays. So in the last class ಆದ್ರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. X-rays, X-ray production, properties of X-rays and application. And also types of, in this class, types of X-rays and also Dunet-Hunt law. Any doubt in this? ಏನಾದ್ರು doubt ಇದೆಯಾ? ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಏನು ಡೌಟ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೇಳಿ. ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಡೌಟ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನೀವು ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ನ ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇಸ್ದು ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆಪ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್. ಇನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಸಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಲಾಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ 2 ಸತಿ 3 ಸತಿ ನಾನು ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. ಎನಿ ಡೌಟ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
No, ma'am.
So meeting end ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ?